I'm with Martin Royds today on a beautiful patch of land called Jillamatong, just outside of Braidwood in New South Wales. Martin has been following regenerative principles and natural sequence farming techniques for over 20 years, and he's made a remarkable transformation to this part of the world. We're going to have a look at what he's done and what the consequences of his actions have been over the last 20 to 30 years. But then we're going to do something special. We're going to go to a friend of his just up the road who's only been doing natural sequence and regenerative farming practices for 3 years, and we're going to have a look at the difference that that's made to that property in a very short time. And we're going to start to talk about how to get going with this and what the economics and the reality of switching to natural sequence and regenerative farming practices can mean for you. Martin, thank you very much for having us out here today.
Tim, welcome to Jillamatong.
I feel really welcome. It's a wonderful place to be. Let's go and have a look at the guts of it and find out why.
Right, yes.
Martin, the first thing that strikes me when we come on to Jillamatong here is this beautiful series of wetlands that you've got running through the middle of your property. Is this a natural set of wetlands?
Well, kind it is. It was, and then it was drained, and there was an erosion gully that went right down through the farm, and then I've recreated it.
So back in the 1980s, this was bare paddock with an erosion gully running through the middle.
Absolutely. Draining water off the surface and out of the soil.
Now, originally Jillamatong 1,000 acres, and it was 2 paddocks.
Yep.
And it was fairly dry, wasn't it? Fairly low stocking rates.
But I came here in 1985. It was soon after the 82 drought. It was then 12 paddocks. My grandparents had split it up, and the pasture was degraded. The erosion gully was doing really well. There was it
was nice and deep.
There was new head wall cuts, and they were dropping, and there was a series of them going up here. And so the system was in a degrading, a negative feedback loop was happening.
So Martin, this all started with you installing some weirs across the eroded gully, and you got onto this idea from Peter Andrews.
100%.
Natural sequence farming.
Yes, I saw him on Australian Story. Well, I'd actually read about him earlier and thought I need to chase this guy up. And then when Australian Story happened, I thought I'll never get near him. The government will be wanting him to fix all of the Australian landscape.
He'll be far too popular.
Exactly, yes. Then luckily I was asked to go to Maloon and meet Peter for the first time, and he came here and he said, oh, let's push some rocks in here and create a Leaky weir.
Yep.
But I told him we were actually on a second order stream, and I was able to legally put the dozers in the creek and create the weirs.
Now, the legal ramifications around putting weirs in a waterway are quite complex, aren't they? You've actually been threatened with a fairly substantial fine.
$1,050,000 fine, yeah, for doing a smaller weir than that on a family farm.
For one weir?
Yes, yes.
Wow. So people have to be very careful that they don't step on the toes of the powerful catchment management authorities when they're undertaking this work.
Yes, and the CMAs are looking at changing a lot of the rules, so institutes
they're catching up?
They're catching the water and realising that rehydrating the land is far better for the landscape than a drainage system.
So how many weirs did you end up putting on this erosion gully in the end of the day?
It goes for 2 kilometres, the erosion gully, and it was 4 metres deep, and we've put 14 weirs in.
And that's lifted the water up in the landscape and spread it out across the area that it naturally used to run into.
Yep.
And now you've got a massive recharge zone right through the middle of your property.
Yeah.
But you've taken that a step further as well, haven't you? Now you've taken also contours off of these chain of ponds, and you're actually spreading the water further across the landscape and reaching higher levels with water.
Yes. Yeah, there's a complex, well, the system before was these boggy meadows, and they were, if you think of them, big sponges.
Yes.
And once you've got an erosion gully going through that sponge, I didn't realise this until we'd actually put them in. The water was running off the surface and into that erosion gully, but it was also going into that boggy meadow and leaching all my fertility out of the soil. So the most unproductive part of Jillamatong was actually the beautiful black soils on the flats.
Right.
But as soon as you block that drain up that's draining fertility and water
And hold it in place.
then it rehydrated.
So now you've spread that rehydration right across the farm with the use of contours from this central resource.
So they can then take that water out, but then there's all sorts of things that we don't fully understand yet where fungi and bacteria can move water. So you've got capillary action can take water up a metre.
Yes.
But if you look up there, you can see it's gone further up into the landscape.
So it will actually climb up away from the contour through the action of the plants, fungi and bacteria.
Yes, yes.
Isn't that amazing?
That's what we're thinking. Some of the work at Maloon, they're thinking it could also be the fact that you've stopped the drain, and so instead of it draining out from the landscape, it's staying up there. And that way you can get it even higher up. Yeah. There's a lot of things happening there, but the thing is that once you've stopped a drainage mentality, you can then start looking at getting a positive feedback loop.
Now, water's the most vital part of fertility on any farm, and you've been through quite a dry patch. I mean, it's just rained just recently.
Yep.
But up until then, you didn't have rain for several months. Your contours have been running water.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've got water running through the top of your paddocks in the middle of a very severe dry spell when other people are looking for feed.
Yeah.
And your paddocks are green.
It's, yeah. Don't tell everybody.
Yes. To keep quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it gets exciting. When I was a chemical farmer and an industrial farmer, you went out every day looking at what have I got to kill, what have I got to fight, what erosion gullies have I got to try and stop. And I poured
And it's exhausting fighting against nature, isn't it?
It is, and you rarely win. I poured $70,000 worth of concrete into erosion gullies on one block, and now 20 years later they're failing. This system is a positive feedback loop. So you put that in
itself.
and you come back and go, wow, that's great, that's working. What can I add to that? So then we've added multi-species pasture plants, biological stimulants, the grazing management, and all these things start building it. And even in the waterways now, we've got 15 different plants growing in there that weren't able to grow on the farm before. So the biodiversity
that's bringing in all sorts of birds and insects as well to the property.
Yeah.
Some of your neighbours have actually commented to you that when they go past your property at night, their windscreen gets splattered with insects, and then once they're past your property, it dries up again.
Yes.
That's pretty remarkable stuff. Now, you've also taken your grazing from 12 paddocks to a lot more paddocks.
54 or so, yeah.
So how long are you spelling the ground between grazings now?
I don't like to say a specific time because everything changes on the weather and the number of stock you've got, what you're wanting to do with the stock. So it's not a
set thing.
It's not a set thing. You've got to be able to read the pasture and go, okay, I've got too much of this pasture in here, I want to graze it hard, so I might leave the cattle in there for a week. Other times I might just skim across for a day. And so, but generally the paddocks are rested minimum of a month up to 12 months.
Now, this is a remarkable achievement on a property over a period of about 30 years, and you've increased your stocking rates, you've lowered your input costs, and you've got more water than you can almost deal with, and you've got a fantastic environment that's building up on the farm as well. People might get depressed to think that it's going to take 20 or 30 years to achieve these results. You now have a friend down the road who's been doing this for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, less, 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years on what was a fairly eroded and depleted block.
Yep.
And there will still be damage there, but can we go and have a look and see what can be done?
It's amazing
and
to
what
see.
Can be achieved in a short period of time?
Yeah. No, Phoebe's done a fantastic job of, I had to unlearn a lot of practices. I was a contract sprayer, did ploughing, all those sort of things, and it was a hard process to get out of that thinking and to make the paradigm shifts. Phoebe came from the city and was able to just go, right, let's meet Peter Andrews, holistic management, all those things, and just start afresh, and has radically changed her farm in a very short period.
Well, let's go and meet Phoebe and see what can be done by having an open mind in just a few years.
Yep.
Let's go.
Hi Phoebe, can I introduce you to Tim?
Hello Tim, nice to meet you.
It's wonderful to meet you too, Phoebe. Phoebe, thank you very much for having me out to your property, and I'm absolutely rapt to see what can be done in such a short period of time. You've owned this property for 3 years.
Yes.
You've been putting management practices in place for 2.5 years, and you're already getting some pretty substantial results, aren't you?
Yes, yes.
Let's go up the slope and get to the part where it all starts.
Okay.
It's a pretty substantial erosion gully as we walk up the hill, isn't it, Phoebe?
Yes, it is. Originally when I came here, the sides of this erosion gully were just bare earth and some blackberries. And over time, when we were doing some of the other earthworks, we've thrown in the overburden and bits and pieces that we didn't need. And now this is actually filled up quite well. And it's a great habitat for little birds.
So you're already starting to see response from the eroded and damaged landscape with your early interventions.
Yes, and I'm not really concerned that it's very weedy. I mean, the weeds are doing a job. They're holding the soil together.
It's a transition period.
Exactly.
So step one, Phoebe, at the top of this eroded gully, at the erosion head as it were, was to put in this leaky weir. Now this is not a dam. This wall's actually designed to leak slightly, isn't it?
That's correct, because we want to maintain moisture to a degree in the gully.
Yep.
And the idea is not to actually create a bucket, which is what most dams do,
Yes.
holding all the water in one place. The idea of these weirs is to slow the water, instead of it gushing through the erosion gully, you hold the water back, seep it back into the ground, and the water can actually seep out horizontally.
Now, Phoebe, you've got now this amazing body of water that's just going to keep building and building because it's recharging out of the bush.
Yes.
So what did you do next?
Well, what we do in the construction of the weir is we create contours which run off the sides of the weir.
Well, let's go and have a look at them and talk about what they're achieving for you.
Yes, sure.
So off the side of this leaky weir now, we've got several contours, one going in each direction.
Yes.
And these are not swales, are they? People think of them as swales,
No,
but they're not swales.
no.
They're a bit different.
No, that's right. So the contour is actually on a contour so that it's
Yep.
level. There's
So
no,
it doesn't
it's
go
not
up or down at
no,
all.
it's not a drain, and it's very important that it is level because you don't want the water to drain in or out.
Yep.
Because that's what causes erosion. So what happens here is that the weir here fills up to a certain level, and the maximum level of the weir is determined by the level of the contour, which here you can see running out into the hill,
Yes.
and another one on the other side.
So we're spreading now water right out across the top of your block of land
Yes.
for it to slowly infiltrate its way down through the entire land body
Yes.
rather than just in one concentrated space.
That's right. And then in this situation, the contour is actually quite short because we've got a hill in the way. So we've stopped the contour, we've created an overflow about 3/4 of the way along here, and then down the hill here we've got another contour which then runs all the way along that slope, and it takes the water right to the other end of the property. And
So
on
it's like a step. It's
Yes,
stepping
yes,
down the hill and
exactly.
then going across
Yes,
again.
yes. But it's very important to control or design it so that the water is controlled so that it doesn't create erosion.
Now, you haven't just stopped there, have you? Further down the hill, we've got some more contours
Yes.
happening. Let's go and have a look at those.
All right.
Now, as we walk down the landscape, Phoebe, you've got another series of ponds and weirs connected up to even more contours.
Yes.
Now, what's the benefit to the land of this down this part of the woods?
Well, the whole concept of controlling the water and spreading it back out into the land is to benefit the landscape in terms of its hydrology and the ability to retain fertility and also create fertility. So we need the water to be controlled so it doesn't erode,
Yes.
and we need the water to soak into the ground and to provide moisture for the plants to grow.
And once you start providing moisture for the plants to grow, then they start providing their own microclimate, don't they? And you
That's correct.
start to activate the small water cycle.
Yes.
You start to get more dew. You start to get more light summer rains.
Yes.
Light winter rains.
Yes.
And you start to have a more active landscape, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that process of the rain actually takes a long, long time, but immediately you'll find that if you've got grasses, say, that kind of long, compared to grass this high, in grass that long, in the heat of summer, I will come up here at 10 o'clock in the morning and there will be dew on the grass because of the dew that's been created at night, and that water from the dew then runs down the blade of the grass and it moisturises the ground, and it then allows that grass to continue growing. If you've got very short grass, it all just dries out and you don't get the dew.
So in 2.5 years, through better paddock management, through rotational grazing, which you're enacting, and keeping water in the landscape, you're getting more dews on your property already.
Yes, yeah.
That's remarkable.
Yes.
Now let's go further downstream and have a look at probably what is the most spectacular result that you've got so far.
Okay.
Now we come all the way further down your block and we're getting into the flat country. You have to forgive me, when I first arrived I thought, oh, isn't Phoebe lucky, she's got a creek running through her property.
No, there was no
This
creek
is not
there.
a waterway, is it?
No way. It was an erosion gully.
So what did you do here?
Well, again, it was a series of erosion gullies. There was one big erosion gully coming straight down, and there was a couple going across the block like this. And there was one very small muddy dam. So again, we just excavated out, created the space. Because sometimes you need to excavate some out to get enough soil to actually create the weirs.
So it's damaged land.
It's damaged land.
Dig it out a little bit,
Yes.
so that you can repair it.
Exactly, yes. And then you create the shapes and put the weirs across, and then we've just linked those together.
So you're creating a natural wetland.
Yes, that's right, yes. So originally there would have been a wetland through here, but it's been destroyed by the erosion gullies.
Yes.
So I'm putting that back plus some. So this will all intentionally be a wet area that actually comes all the way back up into the forest. And the forest provides the nourishment and the water that comes down through the land, and there will be many bird species and grasses and trees, and it'll be a great place for coming and watching bird watching soon.
So you've got 200 acres, you're giving some of it back to being wetlands. What benefit is that going to give the rest of your farm for those pragmatists that are watching at the moment?
Well, first of all, I'm a landscape architect, so my absolute passion is the land.
Yes.
So I come at this from a different point of view. It's not just about the animals and the so-called productivity of the animals.
Yes.
However, by doing this kind of work, what it does is it recreates what's meant to be here, and it gives back to the land, and it brings the water in and the birds and the animals and the insects, and that in itself creates biodiversity, which then creates a much better environment for you to farm and much more productivity.
More carbon, more fertility,
Yes.
more moisture, small water cycle, more rain, more grass growth.
Mm-hmm.
You're already feeling the benefit of that here, aren't you?
Yes.
Now tell me about what you're doing with your grazing. You run cattle on this property.
Yeah.
You started out with about 5 paddocks on the farm.
Yes.
How many paddocks do you have now?
Well, probably about 10, but then I also do subdivide those paddocks with the electric fence, the movable electric fencing.
So you do strip grazing
Yes.
with a reel.
Yes.
And what have you noticed in terms of the poa-tussock in the paddock as a result and a response to that strip grazing?
What happens is that the poa-tussock has been reducing, and you can see from this poa-tussock here that it's quite green and lush, whereas if you look at the poa-tussock up there, which hasn't really been grazed, it's very woody and dry and hard. So the cows actually do eat this grass, and you'll also notice that there's other species coming up through that grass.
Yes.
And all throughout it. So it's improved the quality of the pasture enormously just by managing the pasture in a certain way, so that you're sort of forcing the cows into a certain small area where they trample and they provide the nitrogen from the dung, and they're grazing stuff a lot more than they sort of would like to, so they sort of have to eat some of that stuff they don't like, and then
And therefore getting it under control.
and therefore getting it under control. Yes. Yeah.
So if I was to come back here in 4 to 5 years' time, it's only been 2.5 years, you've
Yeah.
got all of these benefits already. You've got a wetland establishing
Yes.
itself, you've got an erosion gully that's no longer eroding, you've got green grass in a period that has been a drought, you've got reduced weed species, you've got increased biodiversity, you've got more grass for your cattle.
Yes.
Tick, 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 tick. What happens when I come back in 5 years? What are you expecting to see? What are you hoping to see, Phoebe?
There'll be a lot more bird species here, a lot more insects, more biodiversity, greener grass, more, probably fatter, happier cows. I mean, they're pretty fat and happy now, but...
They look pretty fat and happy to me.
And the trees will have all grown. I'll have hopefully planted a lot more trees. I mean, we've planted about 500 trees so far, and they're all springing out of the ground, which is great. I'd like to plant a fruit orchard, which is the next thing, and then also vegetables.
Well, Phoebe, best of luck with the enterprise.
Thank
and
you.
it is an enterprise. If people want to get started regenerating their landscape, I suppose the key message is get good advice and get going, because
Yes.
the rewards are a lot sooner than you think.
Oh, they are. But I've been very lucky having Martin, who's a very good friend of mine,
Yeah.
and he's directed me a lot.
Yes.
So he's been a fantastic mentor and resource. So I can go, Marty, what should I do here? And he'll give me a few ideas, and then I suppose, given my background as a landscape architect, I can implement those and I can sort of see how to do it. But I think it's very important to actually have mentors and people who can help you, to direct you, because it is a bit of a minefield. And I think even for people who have been farmers in the old school and want to change, it's a bit of a mind shift, because the way that you're actually looking at the land is quite different.
Martin, Tim, thank you so much, mate. This is such an exciting story. What an amazing lady that Phoebe is.
She is.
And she's achieved so much in such a short period of time. I think it underlies the importance of working within your community to get information, and the value of such a critical friend.
Yes, thank you, Marty.
Good
to
friend.
Send this video to someone who you think needs a critical friend.